everybody, welcome back to Freedom Malts. Germ here. First Impression Friday. What do we got in store today? I'm really excited. Murphy Quint strikes again. We got the quintessential, the Pete and Sherry first anniversary. Now, I did miss the wedding of Pete and Sherry. However, word on the street is their anniversary party is going to be killer. So let's get into it and see what it tastes like. All right, so what do we got here? We have 118.1 proof, 59.05%. It is two 6-year-old single malt whiskeys, one of them unpeated, one of them peated. The unpeated was finished in a first fill Amontillado sherry butt, and the peated version of the single malt was finished in an ex-bourbon cask. They married those two together and came up with Pete and Sherry. So, they released the Pete and Sherry Marriage, which was the first bottling of this style of whiskey a number of years back. I don't know exactly when. I didn't know about Cedar Ridge at that time, so I have no idea about how that was, what it was like, when it was, any of that kind of stuff. But from what I've heard, it was absolutely stunning. And it's not surprising. Cedar Ridge is pretty much creating some absolutely stunning whiskeys across the board. Fun little fact about Cedar Ridge out of Swisher, Iowa. Their bourbon, Cedar Ridge Bourbon, is the #1 selling bourbon in Iowa. Yes, they beat out Jack Daniels, they beat out Jim Beam, all of that. Their bourbon is the #1 seller in the state. That's pretty awesome. They are an estate distillery, so they make wine, they make all types of whiskey, single malt, bourbon, rye, they make rum. If I remember correctly, they make a brandy. Not 100% on that, so don't quote me on that one. But they're making all kinds of stuff, and for the most part, knocking it out of the park on all of them. So I was super excited to get a hold of this Pete and Sherry. Had a little help from a friend who happens to live right down in Iowa there. And I want to get into this thing. It's been sitting on my shelf for a couple weeks, and it's just been killing me not to open it. So I'm so glad I can do this right now. So, on the nose, it has that familiarity of many other sherry finished or sherry maturation whiskeys. It's very fruity. Raisins, cherries, darker fruits. Maybe a little dark grape. I'm not picking up the peat. And I'm hoping it's just because it's a fresh crack, it's early in the pour, but I'm not getting much of a, hey, I'm peated. I would love to see a full-on peated only whiskey from Cedar Ridge. I think that would be outstanding just to see what that's like. And who knows, maybe down the road they're going to release one. Maybe they already have plans to do so. Maybe they already have, and I just don't know about it. But it smells good though, man. It's a really, really wonderful nose on this thing. Not picking up a lot of malt, not picking up any peat, not picking up any smoke even, but that sherry is really, really prominent and a very nice smelling sherry. Yeah, I mean, it's tart cherry, it's raisin, it's dark grape, jammy, fruits cooked down into a jam with a little bit of sugar in it. I mean, it's thick, and there's the peat. Hey, buddy. It's thick and oily. It's got this wonderful mouthfeel. It's a bit hot right out of the gate. My guess is it is high proof for a single malt. Yeah, what did I? 118 is what I said. That coupled with being brand new pour out of the bottle, actually first drink of the day. Yeah, it's a little alcohol hot, which whatever, that is what it is. Got to expect that once in a while, right? But the mouthfeel on this thing is just coating and thick and oily, almost syrup like. The peat showed up with smoke and just a nice, um, not briny peat, not iodine peat, but like a nice barbecue burnt, uh, crispy meat ends type of peat sensation and flavor. Um, the smoke was there. It wasn't an ashy smoke. It was a lingering campfire smoke. And then that sherry takes over, and it's jammy and fruit, and it is really good. This one is going to be a beaut after a few days. Didn't have my water dropper here. Save that for just a minute. I want to take another sip of this thing neat, because now that I've kind of acclimated to some of that alcohol, I think we'll get a little bit better of a sense of what's going on in here. Yeah, man, it is still pretty hot. Uh, it is fruit syrup right up front. Then the peat comes in with that smoke and that like burnt meat quality in the middle, and it just carries it into the end, and it's got a little bit of alcohol burn on the back end of it. It's lingering, and it's all over and just there and staying there and not going anywhere. It's actually making me want to take another sip, which is, I mean, I guess if you're going to make a whiskey, one of the best qualities you can have is that whiskey makes the person drinking it want to take another sip and just keep on sipping. But just wonderful, wonderful combination of flavors in here. Okay, and now I'm picking up some of that barley sugar. The maltiness is coming through a little bit, and it's adding a little light fruit to it too. So a little lighter are the fruits, not such the dark, the cherry, the plum, the grape, the raisin. It's got a salty quality to it. That's kind of cool. It's not salty like you took some salt and you ate some salt, but it's got like this, almost like this umami-ness. Is that even a word? Umami-ness? But umami is when you got all the flavor sensations. You got sweet, you got sour, you got salty, and they all combine into one cohesive flavor. And it definitely has that. Add a little bit of water here. The lighter fruits are coming out much easier now. Almost like a strawberry jam. Everything is jammy on this. It's like cooked down fruits, but you can pick out certain fruits being cooked down. So like if you have ever made jam in your kitchen, strawberry jam, raspberry jam, any of that, maybe not orange marmalade so much, but those types of fruit notes are coming through, and then you can pick them out individually, and they all kind of mix together as well. It's really neat. And then there's some of that smoke and that. Yeah, this is a winner, man. Limited release on this one. It was limited to, I'm pretty sure it was Iowa only. I think it was 580 bottles. I was lucky enough to get one. Again, thank you to a friend in Iowa. And, whoa. I'm definitely glad I did not miss out on this opportunity. This is something else, man. Okay, the water helped lighten up those fruits a lot. A little bit more barley on it. The fruits are a little bit lighter on the fruit scale, but overall, I mean, yeah, it's jammy and it's multi-fruit jam. It's got that barbecue umami, salty earthiness to it. It's got a whisper of smoke in it that you can tell is there, but it's not so overpowering that it's all that you get. Which, don't get me wrong, I love a heavily peated whiskey. However, they don't all need to be that way. I think it's a really cool thing that they can, that some distilleries, and there's quite a few that do this very, very well, is peat the barley and use it in such a way that it's there as an accent and it's there as an additional, but not the front running flavor and the bludgeoning of smoke and peat taste. And yeah, like I said, don't get me wrong, I love that as well, but it has its place. And these are these more refined smoke peat whiskeys are sometimes such a nice treat that it's one of those things that you can enjoy all the time, whereas sometimes you really got to be in the mood for a heavy peated whiskey. And kind of once you get on that heavy peat train, that's where you're at for the night. And it's nice to be able to have something like this and then go back to a non-peated whiskey and not have it be hidden by what you had beforehand. But anyways, guys, Cedar Ridge out of Swisher, Iowa. If you have not picked up a bottle of anything from Cedar Ridge, obviously I like to talk about American single malt, so I'm gonna blast the American single malt. The quintessential, even the regular Shelfer quintessential, is one of the nicest American single malts that I've had, as far as how it's put together, how it's made, where it lands in the spectrum of American single malts. I mean, it's got to be right up in the top 2, maybe 3. It's fantastic. Their bourbon is really good. Their rye is really good. I have it on good authority that their rum is really good. I haven't personally tried it. They're making good stuff. And if you haven't picked one up from Cedar Ridge, I can't recommend it more. Pick one up. They're fantastic. Distribution's gotten so much better. They are in lots of stores, on lots of shelves. If you cannot find it at a local store, if you have the availability to get things shipped into your state or where you are, you can buy it online. There's several online retailers that sell it, not to mention Cedar Ridge themselves has a web store that you can buy it on. So really, honestly, if you have not grabbed yourself a Cedar Ridge, and specifically a quintessential, I highly recommend it. All right. Thank you, guys. Cheers to this American spirit.